But as we're cooking, conversations will start. How was your night last night? And so then they start to tell me more intimate details. But they feel really comfortable because it's that idea of like letting things go and not being able to like sit there and stare and be intimidated at each other. So I love the idea of working with your hands, being creative, and then developing a relationship around food and just vulnerability.
We have a special guest today, Christin Cole, who is the Zesty Chef and also has a new gig in town, working with Community House on Broadway in their new youth housing shelter called Beth's Place. So we're going to talk about that today. And welcome again, Christin. This is so much fun.
Thank you.
Last time we got together, you were sitting over in that chair thinking, oh, this is what a podcast is like. And then I said, hey, you want to do a podcast? And you just jumped right up here. So this is a little more relaxed, I think.
Yeah.
Although
definitely.
I don't think I'm a little bit more relaxed today. I think a little bit wound up.
Well, you are spicy.
So we'll see
today.
how it goes. We'll see how Beth's Place goes. That's a hard thing to say. Do you find that hard to say?
Beth's Place. I think I've just got it,
Doesn't roll off your tongue. So tell us what's going on with Community House and Beth's Place and how you fit in with that whole project.
Yeah. So I was welcomed aboard October and slowly kind of got the kitchen put together with the intention of feeding and educating the kids. So Frank pulled me in and said, I need someone to help me with the kitchen. I put it kind of together. Can you help put it, finish it? So I've been tasked with feeding and creating a program to which I teach the kids. Currently we have 6 kids. We have 2 boys and 4 girls. And we cook every day. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I'm cooking with the kids daily. They're helping me make their own meals. It's gotten really fun. The personalities are starting to come out. And so today I got a request. I need brownies tonight.
Whoa.
So I love it.
Which you love that kind of stuff.
Oh my gosh. I can't even tell you, like, this is my dream job, to be able to fulfill a need, but also do it with food.
Yeah. So they have a kitchen at Community House.
Why
build another kitchen over across the alley?
Yeah,
at Beth's
so
Place?
it's a locked facility. So we have minors. And in order to be able to be in the building, you have to have fingerprints, background checks. It's basically you have to be approved to be in. And we took over the Carriage restaurant. And so there was an existing kitchen there. And then they remodeled it, keeping basically just the hood and the floor. Brand new equipment. It's beautiful. So I've been able to equip it and kind of make it my own. But we do have big plans as far as using this kitchen to teach the kids an educational side of this, but also selling to the public. So eventually we want to teach them how to, we have a little drive up or walk up window and being able to cost recipes and create batch recipes and do things that they can take out into the world or after they leave us.
That's so great. It never occurred to me that the environment needs to be safe first for them. Because a lot of them come out of environments that are definitely not safe.
Yeah.
And so I forgot that part. That really makes sense, that you would have to have kind of a self-contained environment for them to live in that they felt secure in and safe in. Do you feel, how long has it been since you've had the first clients there?
So our first resident joined us Christmas Eve. And so we've been kind of growing since then.
So a little bit more than 2 months. Have they been there long enough have you seen changes in the ones that were there first, or is anybody that was there first?
The one that was with us first, she is not with us. So we encourage the kids, if they can create a relationship with their families, to do so. And so she went back with her family, which is that's progress right there.
Right.
Maintaining that relationship and communication is so important. So she no longer is with us, but we have some kiddos. I can see growth in the sense that they're starting to open up.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah. And so their personalities are coming through. It's like they come in, and how I see it is they're just like this hardened shell. They're all armored up and protecting themselves. And when they come in, I feel like it's our job to make them feel comfortable, but also to help them let down the guard in
Open
their
up
walls.
a little. Yeah. Well, you're great at that. And especially the way that you use food to get to the heart of people. I mean, you do it with everybody, including me. Everybody you run into, it's the way that you unlock them. And so I can imagine it happens really well with kids because they're probably anxious for somebody to get to know them.
It's great because we'll get in the kitchen together and I'll have an agenda. Maybe we were going to make, like tonight, we're going to do potato soup and rolls, which is one of the requests by one of the girls. We'll kind of get structure going and get the soup going. But as we're cooking, conversations will start. How was your night last night? And so then they start to tell me more intimate details. But they feel really comfortable because it's that idea of like letting things go and not being able to like sit there and stare and be intimidated at each other. So I love the idea of working with your hands, being creative, and then developing a relationship around food and just vulnerability.
Yeah. Creativity really has a way of opening things up for people. I still think it's one of the keys. It's the special sauce to communication, period, is staying curious about what's going on in the other person. And so you have a chance to do that all the time, don't you?
Yeah, I'm definitely... It's an opportunity to let the kids come in and I have a recipe, but most of the time they're like, I don't like onions or I don't like, and so then I'm like, okay, so let's fix this recipe. Let's taste it. What does it need? How would you change it? And giving them the skills that they can take when they leave us, to be creative and to also, I mean, I feel like a recipe is a guideline and that's kind of a metaphor for life. And so if we can give them the recipe for life and give them the confidence to go outside of that recipe, I mean, that's a win right there.
Yeah. And what kid doesn't have a favorite food,
right? Doesn't
have something that has really stuck in their mind as something that really brings them happiness and joy. And you get to foster that.
I do. It's funny you say that. It brings to mind, when they were first here and I was trying to develop a relationship, I was just chatting. I'll go into the living room where they're all hanging out and I'm like, okay, what do you guys want for dinner tonight? What sounds good? And just having conversations around what they're craving or what treats they want. Also sneaking in some vegetables when they don't know it. But and so I was having a hard time with them telling me what they wanted. And I'm like, come on, guys, you got to tell. I mean, is it burgers? Is it fries? Like, what's your favorite place to eat? And I got such an interesting response from one of the girls. She said, I've been sleeping on the streets. And I've been so hungry and I never knew where my next meal was going to be.
Oh, gee.
She's like, if I thought about food, it just made it worse. So I've kind of just turned off that thinking in my brain because it was just more torture than anything else. Another one described an apple, and eating an apple was like the best thing that they'd ever had. They ate the stem and the seeds and everything. So it just really pulled me back perspective-wise. It's like, okay, I get to create a new experience and a new love. We're going to do it in a gentle way because I can see this overwhelming wave of I'm coming in and with like a wrecking ball and like throwing all these food ideas at them. So I slowed down a little bit and, introduced them to some of the comfort foods from our home that my boys really like. And that got the ball rolling. So now I have requests coming in like crazy. So
it's so cool. And it stirs up the best part of who you are too, because you're not trying to do something that you don't feel uncomfortable doing or that you're disinterested in. This is all the stuff that you love talking about, Christin. I mean, this is the reason why you're doing the Zesty Chef is to create connections with people. And here you are getting to create connections with young people. That's got to be really exciting for you.
It's literally a dream come true. It's also exciting to show them the entrepreneurial side of things and just they're like, wait a minute, you cook online too, and so I let them join one of my cooking classes.
Really?
So they watched via their TV a couple weeks ago, and it was fun. The feedback that they gave me, and they're like, you should do this and you should do that. So letting them play a part and having them understand all that it takes behind the scenes. I mean, doing stuff like this is not just cooking or not just interviewing. There's so much more to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's exciting because this generation can bring so much to the table. And if we're interested and we stay curious, I feel like they can bring a level that, is enticing to multiple generations.
Yeah. Well, this is probably going to change you too.
Oh, it already has. Yeah.
In what ways?
Oh my gosh. I just feel humbled. I also feel really in line. I think there has been a long time where I was searching, and I feel rooted. I feel grounded, and I feel like my purpose is really strong here. I'm able to actually give and do what I love to do.
So you've got Frank's dreams, Chelsea's dreams, and Christin's dreams. How do you meld all those together and make them work? Because there's a lot of different ideas. You have some pretty strong ideas about where you would like to take things. How do you blend all that together?
Well, like any good recipe, I feel like it takes diversity. But ultimately, I'm coming in and bringing some food into this and experience. And so I kind of have like a carved out corner of this big dream. And ultimately, Frank is the leader and driving the charge. But I also feel really supported in the direction of that I'm going and being able to be creative. It's a collaborative effort. And I feel like with any recipe, like multiple ingredients are always best. And I feel like that's the secret sauce that we have. I feel like we're able to do it in a respectful way that everyone can put something out there on the table and then, let the leader guide us which way to go. And I do my stuff on the side as well. I'm still teaching my cooking classes online. I'm looking into some other opportunities to partner with people. I took my hands off the wheel a little bit in the sense of trying to control the outcome, and Best Place came to me. So that's just such a great visual to the fact that there's more to come. Yeah. And I just need to ride the wave.
Well, I also know Frank is one of the, he is one of those people who says, listen, just go for it. Do whatever you want to do. And you got a brand new kitchen, a brand new building, a brand new environment. What do you talking about dreams earlier. What are some of the dreams that you have for the next year or so at Best Place that you'd really like to see happen?
I would love to see more of a community effort where we can partner and do some things. It's a unique environment, so we want to protect the kids.
Yeah, you can't have people just dropping in.
Right. And then we also give them the liberty to be private. Not every kid wants it known that they're at Best Place. You know, it's kind of one of those things like, oh, you live at a homeless shelter. But I feel like we're giving them the anonymity, is that the word? to be able to say, where they're living and what they're doing. So with that being said, I really am excited about gardening and doing some things where we can create our own food and getting out into some gardens, local gardens, learning how to grow and harvest, and then bringing that back into the kitchen. Kind of a full cycle. We have a big tower garden now that was donated. And wow. So it's a hydroponic. And we just planted some strawberries. We started some seeds upstairs. So I want to create like a bigger picture of where our food comes from. And I think in doing so, tasting some different things and understanding the importance of taking care of something and growing it. So the gardening side of it is definitely, we also have podcasts coming up where we're going to be cooking in the kitchen and with some members of the community house, and they're going to tell their story, and then we're going to cook together. So that's in the works. I've thought about the idea of culinary therapy is just so strong to my heart and what that looks like.
Okay, explain what you're going to have to explain that one.
It's what I'm doing right now. It's curing your mind, body, and soul with food, whether in the preparation, eating. Food has such a healing power that I want to express that in so many ways. One example I like to give is that there's an act of whisking. So if we're making, let's say, hollandaise, what we're going to do is we're going to take eggs and we're going to whisk them with butter. And it's like a vigorous process that incorporates air and transforms something from one consistency to another. And it's just so symbolic to life. And I want to bridge the gap between transformation in our lives and in food and how it's very similar. And so when you're done whisking the butter and you're emulsifying two things together that don't normally stay together through this process, and being able to share that and share recipes. So I haven't fully formed this idea, but I just definitely want to be able to give people a glimpse of food in a way of healing that is unique. So stay tuned.
So this was a perfect fit.
Seriously.
Because you're learning
Yeah.
what that means
I'm living it. Yeah.
every day. Yeah. When you start out a day, you head over to the Beth's place. What's on your mind? What are you thinking? What does your day look like in your mind?
It's fun. So we're a donation kitchen, and that's unique in a lot of ways. So also the nice thing is we share resources between the community house and us. And so community house has been longstanding, and they have lots of donors and food. And so I go in thinking, okay, what are we going to have to eat today? I have kind of an idea knowing what I have inventory. We've had some gracious donors, cash donors. We've had Foster Farms donated a whole bunch of chicken. So creating relationships with the community, and getting donations. I use what we have. It's like an episode of Chopped every time. So it's like we got beets and chicken and potatoes. And then what can we come up with today that 13 to 17-year-olds are going to like?
Yeah.
So, and then putting that together in a recipe where then we can cook together. So it's kind of this process of just seeing what's in front of us and then transforming it into something delicious. I'm just so excited because I feel like that right there, I let go of the wheel, and this is a perfect example. And I'm seeing God show up in so many more ways than I'd ever done before.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I tried to control, especially with my mind, like what's going to happen, what we're going to make, how just everything in life. And with this example, when I pulled back, it was like, what's God going to provide today? And then what am I going to do with it? How is he going to
Got to be kind of exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freeing for sure.
So one of the questions I had, we talked about this a couple of days ago when we were hanging out for coffee. I asked you, I was surprised that the young people would want to be involved with what you're doing. How does that process work?
The young people, as far as the residents?
The residents,
that, like, want to cook?
Yeah, want to get in the kitchen with you. Because it just seems like, no, that sounds
do
weird.
Dishes and cook and all that stuff. No, sometimes they don't. But that's where I'm finding myself becoming authentic to who I am, because I'm silly, I'm fun. And it's bringing that back out in me. I think I was in the corporate world for a long time, and you kind of have to be this like buttoned up, a little more professional. And I've been able to come out of my shell as well. In doing so, I'm like, okay, you cook with me for an hour. We'll go shoot hoops in the alley. Deal?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'll beat you a horse.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That sounds just like who you are too.
Yeah. It's been fun. Yeah. And so now we create this dynamic, a little bit of a bantering dynamic. But it's also like now they're looking forward to getting in the kitchen to see what silly stuff we're going to, and then I like to tailor it to what they like. And so I love it so much.
That's great. So how do you feel at the end of the day when you walk out of the building? How do you feel about what you've accomplished?
Yeah.
I'm sure every day's different.
Every day's different. I feel accomplished. I feel purposeful. I feel like I don't want to go home and cook anymore. Sometimes I do. It's funny. My youngest was like, Mom, you don't even cook for us anymore. But yeah, I feel like I have a piece about me that I didn't have before. And I feel like I'm able to accomplish something. And I still go home. Like last night, you're going to call me a nerd. I love to crochet. And so I was sitting there I got to go home and just rest my mind and crochet. And normally I would be busy and trying to fill my mind with things. But I think because now my purpose is being fulfilled throughout the day and I'm doing things that really fill my cup, that I can kind of sit back and relax.
Yeah. Yeah. What does it feel like to, this is going to sound weird, really out there, but what does it feel like to be living out your dream?
It feels freeing. It feels exciting, but it also feels like I'm just right where I'm supposed to be. I mean, this path, I could have never dreamed that I would end up where I didn't even know Beth's place or the community house. I knew community house existed, but I was one of those people that didn't fully understand the full umbrella and how everything worked, and didn't know Beth's place existed until, I was approached at one of your talks, and they're like, we need you to come cook for the kids. So it feels so confident that letting go and the path to which I'm choosing and being, trusting God and being closer to my faith, that's leading me exactly where I should be.
Yeah.
And there's just a piece about me that wasn't there before.
It's interesting too, because like I said, we were talking the other day, and you're really growing in your faith right now. And this seems to be part of that growth, which is really exciting, that it's not just about reading the Bible more or praying more, but it's about living a life that's full and meaningful and deep. And all the things that you're doing at Beth's place lean into that and try to make that the center of the thing that's going on there.
Someone had once said to me, like, when you feel the day or fill your mind, there's no room to let anything else in.
Yeah.
And I have removed the list and the log. And so now there's room, and it's amazing what's coming in, and the space that I've allowed is now I get to see him work in ways that I didn't fully even understand.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sit and go to church and talk about the Bible, but to actually see the way God works, this is truly the first time that these dots are starting to be connected for me.
Very cool. Yeah. I think a lot of people miss that. They get so busy with what they think, what other people tell them they should do, that they forget that there's something deep inside of them that's wanting to come out, that's wanting to kind of connect with something that's, first of all, something that's bigger than us. We all, if we're the biggest thing in our lives, we're going to be in a mess real quick. But if there's something that's bigger than us, more important than us, it tends to be a guiding thing for us. And a relationship with God can really do that. And it just seems like this is a setup for you. Like you said, you didn't see this coming. You couldn't have designed anything better for right now.
I do have to mention, you gave me some advice not too long ago. You asked me to look at what the fruit is and what will the outcome be. And I've actually have that on my whiteboard in the office, and it's something that comes to mind all the time. Like, what is the intention here? Like, when I start this, what do I want in the end, or what is God leading us to in the end? And it's been transformative in how I look at situations or how I handle stress, or when I look at confrontation, it's not always about me. I'm able to pull back and not get sucked in.
Yeah. And that also frees you up to be curious.
Yes.
Because if you're centered on yourself, you tend to focus all the conversations on what you want, what you think, how you believe, where you're at. And when you get free from that, you can actually be curious about what the person that's sitting across the table from you and who they are and where they're at. And I think it's just so delightful. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you.
I mean, that goes without saying, because you're doing something that you really love to do, and you're bringing young people into that. You're bringing coworkers into that. So great job, Christin. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll put the information to get a hold of you in the liner notes. If somebody wants to get a hold of you and have them come and talk, you'd be a great person to talk at their church just about what's going on at Beth's place. So would Chelsea. But you guys are like a tag team anyway. Everywhere you go together in a powerhouse team.
We are a dynamic duo. It's fun.
Yeah.
Our energy is just amazing.
So I'd really encourage you, if you're a pastor of a church, invite him to come and talk about what's going on in our community. It's really interesting. It's really important. The work that they're doing, but also the work that God's doing in you through that is pretty cool. So thank you.
Agreed. Thank you.
Yeah.